Hello and welcome to Paranormal Peeps. And tonight I have Jane Rayleigh to speak to. How are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always good to have a chat and a catch up.
Yeah, it's great to speak to you because obviously I last saw you at the Parameet and it's brilliant,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, it was. It was a really good event. And normally Neil is with us. We generally do these things together. But fortunately, Neil's mum is really, really poorly, and Neil has taken a step back
Yeah,
temporarily while he looks after his mum and just sort of sorts everything out that's all the issues and stuff that's surrounding his mum at the moment. So
yeah, I totally get it. I've been there and, it is a horrible time. And, it's times like that you realise family do come first, don't they?
they do,
And
yeah.
and that is it. I sort of totally, definitely understand it. I just wish him all the best. Yeah.
Yeah, so everything is still at the centre is still sort of functioning as normal. So it's just a case that self, Julie, Amy, and Ant are sort of picking up a lot of the stuff. So that Neil would
Yeah.
normally do. So still
Yeah,
want to
that's
carry on and everything to continue as normal, but you just might not see Neil around for a while.
yeah. Yeah, it is such a shame, but yeah, we're all here for him and anything I can do, obviously I will as well. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's got a lot of
yeah, and it's
support
all very much
around.
appreciated. All the offers of help are all very much appreciated. I know
Yeah, bless
do
him.
know who their friends are and they're well aware of all the messages and they really appreciate all of
Yeah. Oh, your sound keeps dropping, Jane.
that.
Yeah. Turn it up a bit or thought it was just me.
Is that any better?
I'm not sure. We'll see what Carl says. So, see how it runs. I'll turn the sound up on my laptop a bit. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But we'll see how it goes. So you've got so much experience, though, haven't you? So where did this paranormal start for you then? You always been a medium?
Well, yeah, so I am the residential medium of the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre. So I've been there since Neil opened the premises and I've worked closely with Neil for probably about 15 years now because he did run he ran a venues group and we ran an investigation team and I was that. And before that, I did, I sat in circle for quite many years at the Spiritualist Church, but I'd also been seeing spirit and experienced things right from being a child. So it's always been there.
Wow. So what do you say to somebody who wants to sort of try to see spirit? What do you suggest?
I would tell them to just sort of start working on themselves for a start, and you've got to start working on it. We see a lot of people that sort of do some of these things, some of the paranormal things, the investigations, and they see how mediums work. See them the next time, and then all of a sudden they're a full blown medium, and some of the stuff that comes out isn't quite right, and some of the messages that they give really should be perhaps interpreted in a different way, and things like that. There's a lot of to it, and there's a lot more to it than just saying, "Oh, I'm just sort of picking this up." I do think that people really should spend some time working on themselves, working with spirit, getting some training and practice and learning as much as you can before really you start going out and sort of giving messages and stuff to the public. It can
Yeah.
backfire in some cases.
Well, it's a big responsibility, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You've
And
got to be careful what you say and how you say it.
especially in this day and age as well,
Well,
where
that's
everything can be,
right.
you know,
Definitely.
and it's understanding how the spirit world works. It's understanding uh, the history of it and how it all came together. And it's not, like I say, it's not just a case of walking to a building and just start, saying about this, that, and the other. There's such a larger understanding that goes with it that I think helps you be a better medium if you have that knowledge and understanding. And it's something that you can work on is, even now I learn new things all the time, and it's a case of developing, just having that continual progress to work for.
Yeah. We seem to be having a sound issue, Jane. So I don't know what's going on. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Keeps dropping out. Unless it's because of the fan or something. The fan's causing interference or anything. So I'm not sure. Can't hear you at the moment. The mic's gone off. That's it.
Is that better now? It's back on.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me
Carl
better
can hear
now?
better. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Has the echo gone as well? Seem to be having a job both
Must
of
have
us
been the
really.
earphones. Must have been these earplugs I put in. So I don't normally use them, but I could hear you better through them.
Yeah.
But I can hear you okay now. But if the sound's better now, I'll just not use them.
Yeah. All gravy. Yeah. Don't know what that means. Hey ho. Yeah. Oh, hi Paul. We've got Paul as well. So thanks for joining us. So this Paramete idea, it's been around a while, hasn't it? Because you had a couple at centre, didn't you, originally?
Sorry, just say that again.
The Paramete's been around a while now because I had a couple of days at the centre as well.
Yeah, it originally started not long after we opened, and there was a chap called Ali Key. Some people might know him,
Yeah.
and because we used to have, it used to be just like an open day really on a Saturday, and we used to have so many people coming up, and we wanted to get more and more people involved and more people included. And Ali came up one day and he said, you know what would be good, to just sort of try and have like a Paramete day and just get everybody together. And Neil took the idea on board, and for the last Saturday in every month we made it Paramete Day, and it was just like an open day where everybody could just come up. There'd be teams, individuals, just people with a curiosity, anything and everybody who had anything that they wanted to sort of discuss or had an interest in. They everybody was encouraged to just come up and just talk to other people, and we found that it was really, really successful because teams started to come talking to each other, and they were sharing information about kit and equipment and locations and investigation techniques, and it was just a really, really good day. And it ran for quite a long time, and it sort of wound down a little bit really when COVID came in. And that was how we first met Amy. Amy was one of the first teams, one of the first people to come up on the Saturday we first did it. So we've met so many people and we've made so many friends through it, and we always try and promote friendship and just being open and sharing things and just trying to make it, just trying to bring people together in the paranormal community without the drama and the falling out.
That's right. Like a lot of people are mentioning Para-Unity to make a name for themselves. And you just see it time and time again, and it's so obvious as well. But then when you do it sort of where you genuinely do it just to get people together.
Yeah, well,
And
I
then
think
you see the outcome of it as well.
Yeah, you see, I think Para-Unity. I'm just going to try and stick one side of my earphones in, just to see if it helps, because so I can hear you better.
There might be interference as well with the fan, I think. That's causing slight interference. We're having a bit of a mess tonight, aren't we?
I can hear you a lot better now.
Brilliant.
Is my sound and everything still okay?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
We get there in the end. Put the other one in, see if that works.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, I think we're all good now. But yeah, it is nice to try Para-Unity, but it can cause trouble.
I do really think it is possible in small groups of people.
Yes.
You're never going to get everybody to conform because there's too many egos, too many strong personalities, too many people who don't want to just share information and stuff like that. So you're always going to get it in smaller groups of friendlier people. And with Para
Yeah.
Unity, it's not a case of really talking about it; it's doing it, and
Yeah, that's what I
you know,
think.
it's sharing, it's showing that friendliness and that openness and being welcoming to people, and that's what we try and promote at the Parameet.
That's right. So the first big one was last year, and then there's 3 this year. Had 2 already, which were absolutely awesome, weren't they?
Yeah, the last two
But
have been amazing. The one
yeah,
at Sketchley Grange, Parameet Midlands, was the best one yet, and we had so much positive feedback. We're not
brilliant.
aware of one negative comment at all, not about the venue, not about people's rooms, not about anything to do with the awards or um, it's all been so positive, and that's really good for Neil at the moment because it does really spur him on to sort of keep going.
Yeah, that's right. I've got Liam who can't wait to come to Harpic on November 9th. So yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
a good night.
yeah,
So yeah.
that'd be
But
good. We
you
look
know,
forward to
it's an
seeing you.
incredible location. It really is.
Well,
And
this
then
is
you
one.
sort of take some of the characters to the Parameet as well, don't you?
We do. We like to take some of the items, but the venue itself, Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre, is such a special building. Well, it is to us, and it's been there such a long time. There's been something on that site for over 1,000 years, and there's so many layers of history there that the premises have been used for so many different things. And it's just the ideal place, and it was just meant to be because Neil's seen it a couple of times, but he kept getting drawn back to it and drawn back to it, and that's why in the end he sort of up in that building. But
Yeah,
it is a very active building.
and it's happy with the items he's got as well, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah,
things initially that he was drawn to
yeah,
from antique shops or wherever, wasn't it?
yeah. I remember going on one of the last investigations before Neil left the team that we were in before he started this. Now we were sitting in the attic at Moira Furnace,
Yeah.
and we were in the attic, and I was very much drawn to this chest, this wooden chest, and I could really feel some really sort of turbulent energy around this chest. And I said to Neil, put the flare on this wooden chest, and he did. And inside there was like the heat. There was like a red ball
Wow.
sort of swirling inside it, and we couldn't open the chest. We couldn't sort of. So, that was then that sort of really gave me sort of the inspiration um, about items because we hadn't really done anything with items before, and that was really the last investigation that we did with the team.
Wow.
And Neil broke away, and then I sort of followed shortly after that. So stuff going on sort of before we started Haunted Antiques, and I know Neil he always wants to do sort of something more challenging, something more different
He
because he does get
does.
bored
Yeah.
quite quickly, and that's
I've
great for
noticed
me.
that. Yeah. And it does push you as well with the mediumship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, me being at centre, working there, all that we have, I would never have developed my mediumship like I have without being there. And that's
Yeah.
why I sort of fully support, the projects and everything that we do because it is so fascinating the amount of different stuff that we've learnt in
That's
doing
right.
this.
First time I went there, it must have been a year after it opened. So I went with Project Paranormal, Paranormal Hauntings, Phil Newton, and some others.
Yeah,
And I just thought it was weird because I didn't know how to investigate. Because obviously you go in a building and you investigate that way, but when it was item driven, it is sort of different mindset at first, isn't it?
yeah. And so many people when they come to the centre, if you're sensitive, if you worked with spirit before, if you've got any sort of psychic sort of connection with the spirit world, people walk in and they feel this heavy wave of the energies hit them. Quite a few times
Can
people do
do.
have to leave. Yeah, people have to leave the room just to sort of try and stabilize themselves while they sort of get used to this energy. And we even had somebody the other week that had to leave the room because they just felt so overwhelmed by this flood of sort of energies that was coming through.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that when I first went. Yeah, you just walk in a room and it's like, whoa. When it was the old tea room.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's the tea room, then onto the dolls room, wasn't it? So you walk up
yeah,
the stairs, then there's this tea room, which was a base room, a few tables, CCTV monitors as well.
yeah,
And it was when, like, straight away they captured one of the clowns falling down the stairs.
yeah,
So, we got that as soon as we got there. Nobody was around and the CCTV captured it, which was great. But, you just walk in a room like, whoa. And I'd never known that before. I think,
yeah,
Haunted Antiques was the first time I'd walked in a room and thought, wow, I've got to get out of this room because it was that heavy walking through, sort of thick air and everything else
yeah.
just to get in. It was amazing. But yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that sort of is good about the centre is so many people can sort of say what they feel, say what they experience, and when we get so many people saying the same thing, completely random strangers, they don't know each other, they come at completely different times, and when so many people say the same thing, that's got to be more than coincidence. It's
That's right.
the amount of information that we've collected over the years is just really good, and hopefully I can perhaps get it all in a book today.
Yeah,
Got
definitely.
about 3 books on the go at the minute.
I've just got one now. One is with the publishers. Yeah.
Fantastic.
We're gonna make
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been with the publishers a while, but it's sort of got delayed through things, but there you go.
Shh.
Oh,
So
I
is
wonder
my
what
little
that
dog.
was.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
bless
just
you.
barking under the table.
Oh, they do, don't they? But the thing is about when I used to go and now, like, first time you go in, first few times, what I did like about it, you walked in, you picked up what you picked up, and then you'd go to Neil or whoever's on going, oh, I get this about it, the doll, or, and then you get the validation afterwards because
Yeah.
Neil never gave any information out when you went in. And
That was
that's
always
what I like.
yeah,
You're there to get your own impression. If you're drawn to something, then you're drawn to it. And like, I'm lucky enough to host events there, for the public events, Haunted
yeah,
Antiques. And I just like not to say anything. So when somebody walks in the dolls room, one of the 10 people usually goes up to Hannah. So if you've seen pictures of Hannah, I've usually got them on my page somewhere. But she's a doll which looks horrendously human. And her eyes seem to follow you as well. And I've seen times where it's like she's had something over her face and her lips have moved. It's been in darkness. I've seen her lips move, and it's been, if I could have lip read, I would have known what she was saying. But
yeah,
the fact that you go into this room and at least one person goes over to her and wants to carry her around, well, it's a
yeah,
doll, for God's sake,
yeah, yeah.
Someone's always attracted to her.
One of the strangest things about Hannah, when we've worked with her and when we've done psychometry with her and we've done other things, the strangest thing about Hannah is we've got all these haunted objects in the centre, and these objects seem to have a spirit sort of with it. They don't. When we say the spirit's attached to it, they're not really sort of attached to it like they can't get away from it. It's
Yeah,
just that it was like a favourite item to them, and every now and again they come and spend time with that item, and we can sometimes work with it. But with
yeah,
Hannah, it's completely different because the spirit seems to be sort of within her. It's actually
yeah,
sort of within her. It's not sort of attached to her or with her, it's within her, and she does have this real. The thing with Hannah is, if you want to get some really really good stuff out of Hannah, she's very friendly. She draws you in. She wants you to pick you up, pick her up. She wants you to cuddle her. She wants you to be really nice to her and carry her around all evening because she loves that and she's really at peace with that. That's the best thing you can do for her. But
I know.
if you wanted to really kick off, if you wanted to really, really do some stuff, the the best thing to do is shut her in a box and put her away, because that's what she hates.
Yeah.
Put her in a box and shove her under the stairs or something, and that's when she really, really does start kicking off. That's when you get the best stuff from her. But
Yeah,
we've seen.
I unfortunately booked one night, and it's the England Germany game. Well, a few years ago, and I thought, right, okay, then let's go in the war room, watch the football, because it's hard to investigate with the England match anyway. So I thought, right, there we go. We go in there. You got the war room. It's got the soldiers, and we get a lot of sort of soldiers coming through in that room. I thought, let Hannah join in, because I thought she won't like football, but she loved it. It's like I just couldn't upset her.
Yeah.
It's just for her to have attention. That's what she likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when Hannah came to us, she'd been put in the attic because the lady who owned her didn't like her, and she was put in the attic, in a box in the attic, completely on her own, away from everything. And that's when all the really bad sort of stuff started happening. Bumps and bangs in the attic, footsteps in the attic. Even though they knew nothing was up there, and there was all sorts of weird and wonderful things going on with that. And it's only when the lady got rid of her and sent her to us did all the activity stop in the house.
Wow, incredible.
Because she'd put her in a box in the attic, completely isolated her and completely neglected her, that's when she really did start kicking up.
Wow, yeah. Which, I totally get that, because she loved the Parameet. Like, people picking her up, carrying her around. She totally loved it. So, Liam, I am coming. Can't wait to meet you.
Yeah, brilliant.
HAPRC, Heartbeat of the Local Paranormal World, for Richard. And it's a brilliant place. Liam, avoiding door room. Really, mate? Yeah, we'll lock you in there with the clown, no problem. Sort that one out. Paul, we had a wonderful time at the centre. Jane spent so much time with us. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's always great working with Paul. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, and his sessions are brilliant as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
The past life regression. Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting work.
Yeah, so Paul is at the North Parameet as well. Are you, Paul?
I'm not sure if Paul's. I haven't got Paul on my list, so I'm not sure if Paul's actually
not
there.
quite sure. But it's been great to meet you anyway at the other two. Yeah. So when is the Parameet then? The North one. It's October, isn't it?
The next Parameet is Parameet North, and it's up at Pontefract. It's the 18th to the 20th of October. And the guest speakers so far that have been confirmed, and this isn't in any particular order.
He's not coming. Oh.
No, I didn't think Paul was coming, because I've got him on my list of speakers, you see. So this is a list of speakers so far. We've got myself, Neil Story, Hazel Ford, Harry John, Mike Covell, Are You Haunted?
Yeah.
And then there's Richard Felix, Penny Griffiths Morgan, Rob Pike, Kate Sherrill, Barry Frankish, and then I think there's somebody else, but I'm just gonna leave that one for a bit until it's actually confirmed.
Oh wow, that's brilliant! Yeah. So like Barry's doing that because he is local to Pontefract, isn't he? So he knows all about Pontefract. So that'd be they'll all be interesting ones anyway. But they're all UK people as well.
Yeah, and the room that we're all in is again one big room. All the stalls, all the speakers again are all in one big room. We thought that worked really well for Parameet Midlands.
It did, yeah.
I know some of the stalls were in the other rooms as well, but it was something that we wanted to try. But apparently North it will be that everybody is all in the same room. It's one large room.
That's lovely.
And I think it's better like that. It brings people together so much more. People, even the traders, are not isolated sort of so much on their own, and they can hear everything else that's going on as well. So, but we have had a bit of a we have looked at a bit of entertainment on the Friday and Saturday night. So so far on Friday night we are looking at doing the world famous paranormal quiz. Everybody loves.
It's so hard, Jane. Your questions.
They just seem normal to me. I will do some easy ones because we have had. I know people enjoyed the anagrams of the locations.
We like anagrams, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
With Shampwanker and last
Shampwanker's a winner.
Yeah, and Glitter Piss that was in the last one.
So it was one. The Shampwanker was about locations, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I will try to do an easier quiz then, if that. But after that, we're hoping to do a get everybody in the room and do like have a few drinks and watch an old horror movie. Like one of the old black and white sort of one of the ones that's sort of out there in the public domain, so we can all get together and watch a bit of a fun horror movie or something cool, like that. We are looking at a couple of films, so we're just going to select one now that we think everybody will enjoy. So
nice and creepy one.
So Friday night, so you've got your paranormal quiz, which I think we're looking at doing at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then from 9 o'clock, going to have a movie night. So then that'll be good.
Awesome, yeah.
Then on Saturday night, by popular demand, and with it being in October, we're looking at a Halloween fancy dress.
Yay.
Along with karaoke.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah.
We, when people make suggestions, we do try and listen and we do try and make it happen. I know there was a lot of requests at Parameet Midlands for people to have a karaoke night. So we're going to do that on the Saturday night with a Halloween fancy dress. So,
brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's going to be good fun. We try to make because we're doing quite a few Parameets, we try to make the evenings a little bit different each time to just sort of, mix it up a bit. And I think when it becomes predictable and people know what's going to, when it becomes the same every single event, it does, I think it gets a bit boring. So we are trying to mix it up a little bit and just do slightly different things to keep people entertained and to make it fun.
Well, that's right. A lot of it is like you just hanging around with like-minded people. You're having a laugh. You're having a few drinks, and it's just great, isn't it? I just love it.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things that we've noticed since we've been doing all these Parameets is the fact that people want to sit and talk and socialise. People want to be together, and it's not just in little groups. People just don't necessarily want to be in their little groups. Sitting outside.
Yeah.
One of the things that we laughed about was what the circle just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as more and more people joined. And we want everybody in that one circle. We don't want people going off and sort of feeling isolated and like they don't fit in or they're not welcome, because that's not the case. We want everybody in. And I think the karaoke night is going to be a good fun because everybody's going to be joining in and hopefully everybody will be getting up and singing and making fools of themselves, making more friends, and just having a really good time.
That's it. It's about creating memories, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you can learn something, or if you've got a new friend out of it, and somebody else, you sort of, you find a team who you can go out investigating with, or, just anything, isn't it? But you're just creating memories.
Yeah, and we're also breaking down barriers as well, because when you get up on stage with a couple of people who you don't necessarily know, you've seen their face on Facebook or whatever, and then you get up on a karaoke and sing a song with them and have a few drinks with them. There's so many barriers that come down. There's so many friends that have been made, during these Parameets, and it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, because the thing is about words as well, people can misconstrue words. Like you can write something and people can sort of say, they can get offended at it, and you don't mean what somebody particularly writes doesn't really, and somebody can get upset or just misread it or something else like that, and then it can cause he, she, and all that rubbish, can't it? But something like that, you're face to face, you're having a laugh, and you sort of get to know each other. But in a way, don't you find with Facebook you sort of get to know people anyway?
You do, but I mean,
In some ways.
yeah, I think you do.
And then when you meet them, it seems similar, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I've sort of seen people on Facebook, and when I've met them in real life, they're nothing like what I expected because you've seen pictures or whatever, or you've messaged or things like that. And like you said, you can't always tell the proper meaning of a message because you can't always get the context
That's it.
in which way things are said. And when you're face to face and you're actually sitting around a table with people, the open conversation is so much better,
Yeah.
you know. And it's I'm a bit old school, texting really is just one of the worst things. I think it causes more conflict and fallouts than anything.
Oh God, it can do.
Good old
Yeah.
face-to-face conversation. It's things are sorted within minutes, and people are generally much happier, and it's all people are much more friendlier about it.
Yeah. Certainly a different world now. I sort of rely so much on social media because I do live on my own.
Yeah,
So yeah, I do use it a lot, whether I'm watching podcasts, Ghost Planet Network, if I'm watching that, or
yeah,
or just chatting to people on Messenger. Like I spent 2 hours chatting to somebody on video Facebook Messenger last night.
yeah.
And that's my night in.
And it's
And
brilliant for connecting
it's
people,
great what
isn't
you
it?
can do.
Like
Yeah.
that, I often FaceTime the grandkids and stuff like that. So, but it's still that face-to-face contact, isn't it, that you need?
We've got an idea here for Smithers Hall in Bolton then. So Carla'd love that as a location.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's
Any
a beautiful
ideas like
building.
that? Yeah, any ideas like that? You could always send it through to us. I know next year we have got a few things in hand. I know Neil
Yes.
has already got the Parameet in January planned for the World Parameet World, where we're having
Yes.
speakers from Australia, America, and the UK around the world. So it's going to be something again completely different that he wants to try, different ideas, different
That's
speakers.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, different way of doing it. So yeah, going to do that, and then I think we're also looking at a trip in conjunction with Phantasm Tours this Cornell.
Transylvania, wasn't it? Dracula's
Yeah,
castle.
yeah. So we're
And
looking at that as well, and there are a few ideas at the moment for a venue around or sort of later in the year, but I can't really sort of talk about that until we know things are confirmed and what
yeah.
what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So there's lots in the pipeline, lots more parameets coming up in lots of weird and wonderful ways. So,
Yeah.
we're not, there are lots of things going on in the background.
Well, that's it, because you do different series, like you used to do podcasts and you still do those, but then obviously you've got the Demon Connections, which I know is sort of close to you and Neil, really. It is
Yeah,
something unusual and you've had a lot of flack for it as well, but you want to sort of just test the boundaries and just see, don't you, really, what's going
yeah.
on and find out the truth.
And we were quite surprised about some of the, if you like, some of the more negative side of the comments and things that we got through it. But, how are you going to learn about things if you're never going to challenge the boundaries? If we always stay within that parameter where people have said, this is this and you believe it and that's all we're going to do, you're never going to learn anything outside of that. So the Demon
Yeah.
Connections to us is a very special project. For anybody who doesn't know what the Demon Connections is, it's a live feed that we do. Well, sometimes they're recorded, but it's a live feed that we do, and it's all around demons. We're looking at 72 demons in the Lesquia Solomon, and each time we summon a demon. Obviously, that's not done on camera. I do that. I summon the
Yeah.
demon. We get on camera, and then we do the investigation, and we then make up our own mind. We do the investigation and we make up our own mind. But a lot of people, have said that we shouldn't be doing it because we're operating above our pay grade and rubbish like that. We shouldn't be summoning demons, this, that, and the other. Why not? Who said that we can't do that?
That's
And
right.
you then get back to religion again, and to me, religion is something that's been interpreted by men
Yeah.
for their own agenda. things like that. You know, the Bible's an interpretation of men interpreting old scrolls and things like that to fit their own narrative and, you know, the way we should all be doing things, and that's according to their opinion. So, you know, I
Yeah.
don't. It's things like when people say there's rules around Ouija boards. Well, who made those rules? You know, who said
Yeah,
we've got to
that's
do
right.
that? You know, and this is one of the things that we do at the centre. We challenge everything. If somebody says we can't do it or you shouldn't do it, then we'll just go right ahead and do it and make up our own minds about doing it. You know,
But what I
that's
like
just
about the rules of Ouija board is the fact that everybody else has different ones. So it's not a set rule, is there? But oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that.
you got to shut it
Everyone does
down
it
and
differently. So
yeah. We
that
don't.
doesn't
We've
kind
never
of
shut
work.
any of the boards down. We don't open them up. We don't shut them down. We never close any of the boards down at the centre. Nothing's happened.
Yeah. No, I've used them frequently, haven't I? And that's it.
Yeah,
You
same
know.
with the demons. We've done over 30 demon connections now. It is a little bit on hold while Neil does
Yeah,
the
that's right.
Haunted Connections show, and the demon connections might be on hold for a little bit more till Neil's able to rejoin the team again.
Yeah.
Now, but we're, you know, it's all still there. But the demon connections, we've done over 30 of them. We've summoned over 30 demons into the centre, and
Yeah.
nothing's really happened.
And
You
I
know,
was at one of them, which was an amazing night.
yeah, you
Yeah.
were.
So that was incredible, and I sort of got weird imagery in my head, which like, what the hell, you know? And it's great, you know, because you know you're getting this information through, and then I'm getting this weird thing. It's like, whoa, what is that? But
Yeah.
yeah, but
But I think
it's
it's all
great.
about, you know, if you're working with the spirit world, they're going to show you lots of different things.
Yeah,
Not just, you know, we shouldn't be so blinkered in what we think it's just, you know, it's not just that straight and narrow road. There is
no,
everything. There's so much more to it all than what you know, what we're led to believe. And the more we do it, we find the more and more we work with spirit, and the more and more we do with them, then the more and more they reward us by showing us different things and
yeah,
more complex things.
that's right. It was funny, like, there's a public seance night, wasn't there? And I know Mickey York and for London lads,
Yeah,
they sort of they filmed it, and something came through about Mickey as well, doesn't it?
yeah. Well, that
And
was quite funny because it was that was a bit with Baphomet at the beginning,
that
wasn't
was it, yeah.
it? And Baphomet sort of snitched on Neil a bit, really,
That was the one, yeah.
because
So
we didn't know.
Jane didn't know this, but Neil had been like setting his intention about something, and he had a plan, you know, something he wanted to try out. So he's kind of setting this intention, and then the spirit brings through Baphomet brings through what was going on,
Yeah, he
and like
did.
Neil was gobsmacked because Jane didn't have a clue, but then it's like this demon sort of grasped on him, which was quite
Yeah,
funny.
because I was sitting there, and it just he more or less came through straight away, really quite strongly. And I said, someone's been working with Baphomet. He's here for somebody who's been calling Baphomet, who's been wanting to work with Baphomet. And Neil was sitting right beside me, and as soon as I looked at him and seen his face, that sheepish sort of look, I knew it was him.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was quite funny.
so funny.
And the stuff that came through for Mickey was really good as well, with binoculars and the sword.
That was incredible. Yeah, the personal experience that Mickey had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a day or so later, he actually sent the photos to Neil when he went back home and talked to his dad. He actually found the binoculars and the sword, and he sent the pictures to Neil. So that was really good. You know, it was.
Yeah.
That's what I love about seances, when you know, when people come back from after the seances with information like that, which just then sort of validates the stuff that we brought through.
Yeah. That is what I like about sort of spirit side, and that's why I share things. Because I might share what I get, you know, if you get names, dates, things like that, I'll share it. I
Yeah.
don't care if anyone thinks it's rubbish. You know, it's there, I've written it. If somebody else goes there 6 months later and go, wow, I got that person through,
Yeah.
that's enough, isn't it? You get validation,
Yeah.
you know.
So I think sometimes you just got to do your own thing and work work with spirits, you know, the way that they want you to work as well, because we've come across so many different things there. I mean, things like the aliens, our
That's
little
incredible.
ET.
Yeah.
Yeah, our little ET. We've got an alien there called Balam. I think his name is Balam. Um, and just by, you know, just working with those things, people have said, "Oh, you're making it up. It's all rubbish and stuff." But you know, I really don't care what people say
No,
like that, because I don't have to prove anything to anybody, because this is, you know, as me and Neil have always said, this is our journey, this is our
that's right.
experience, and
Yeah,
we will still do this, and we then share that information with other people. Whether they believe it or not is entirely up to them.
it's
But
up to
we, you
them,
know,
isn't it?
we will just
Yeah,
carry on doing what we're doing, and we don't
yeah,
really care what other people's opinions are, because nobody's going to stop us doing what we're doing. And you know, if some of this stuff is far too complex or a bit too sort of out there for people to believe or understand, then that's not really, um, you know, that's not really our problem. We will just
that's
carry
right.
on doing what we're doing. And I think sometimes if people come across that and they've had that experience, then, you know, don't necessarily slate it, or yes, you might not believe it, but go and do a bit of research for yourself. Because you know, we've
Yeah,
said this before, I could tell you a million ghost stories about a lot of things, and you wouldn't necessarily believe it. And until you actually get off your backside and go into a building and have that
yeah.
experience yourself, you know, you're not gonna experience it. People will always say, "Well, prove to me ghosts exist." Well, I don't have to.
No, don't want to. Can't be bothered.
You know, I don't really care whether you believe or not. I know what I believe, and I know what I've seen, and I know what I've experienced. But if you want to have that same, you know, if you want to have that same experiences, you've got to get out there and do it, and
That's right.
have those experiences.
Yeah, you sort of got a lot of keyboard warriors, haven't you? You know, the ones who post a picture of the, nothing, and then they go, "Oh, you don't believe? Well, mate, I actually do this. Oh, take care, Paul.
Yeah,
Cheers.
bye, Paul.
Oh, bless you. Thanks a lot. Take care."
Oh, see you soon.
Yeah. Oh, bless him. But yeah, and I think what was weird for me was I didn't believe in elementals. Or why would I? Like throughout childhood, you've got pixies, imps, and all that lot, but you don't actually know if there's some sort of basis for it, that may or may not be or whatever. But then when I came to the centre, people kept mentioning creatures, and people say, "Oh, I'm being scratched. I've got something crawling up my leg," and I don't actually feel that now. You find that some people always get scratched, and they do. You see it happen, you see it materialize.
Yeah,
And then you get people who say, "Oh, they've got something crawling up the leg," and a lot of people get that, specifically in the attic room.
yeah,
But for me, I did an investigation once, and a medium came in. He sat down, and he saw all the creatures running around the floor, and he wouldn't put his feet on the ground. And he didn't know about the creatures, and for me, it's things like that what validate it, isn't it?
yeah. Yeah, we do have a lot of creatures up at the centre, and this was another thing that they've brought to us, as we were doing. You know, I'm talking about spirit, because
Yeah,
we've been working along. You know, this sort of took us to a new level about learning about all the creatures, and
that's
learning
it.
about what these things sort of are in the spirit world. But yeah, but it's pretty amazing. But when people see them as well, other people see them. Yeah, it's great, because you know, before we found these creatures at the centre, there was there was very little said in the paranormal community about anything about creatures.
Yeah,
You know, then once we'd sort of started telling people about it, then people started to see them more and more.
yeah, that's it. But like this lad, he hadn't even seen, he hadn't even heard of them, and it's just great. But yeah, I don't think I'd be impressed to see them. That's probably why I can't see, and I think it's good that I can't see. Like when you hear the horror stories, like I've spoken to a few people where they'll walk or they'll drive and they'll actually see something crossing the road, and it's
Yeah,
spirit and not human.
yeah,
And it's mad, isn't it? It
yeah,
must be. Can you see them?
yeah. For me, the spirit world, seeing things from the spirit world is a lot easier than what we think it is. The spirit is just sort of all around us anyway, and it's
Yeah,
just when we're sort of compatible, or when we can sort of connect with them, that we can see them.
Yeah. I can't. I've seen shadows and stuff, but I can't actually see them.
Yeah.
Which I think if I could, it might be a problem.
Yeah, well, that's sort of how I work, because when I send my energy out, when my energy connects with their energy, that's then when I can see them.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I see them in my mind's eye, but not physically. Yeah. It. Yeah, it must be incredible, but I'm not sure I'd want to, and that's probably why I
Yeah,
can't.
and
And that's
it
it.
when you first see them, it is one of those things that, what am I actually looking at? What am I seeing?
Yeah.
Is this real? Is this, what's going on? And it does take a bit, it does take some getting used to, because we're just not used to sort of seeing so many different things from the spirit world.
Yeah. So maybe, in time, maybe I'll get that skill. You don't know, because things do change. You do develop, don't you?
Yeah, and it does take time. It does take time. When I was seeing creatures and things when I was little,
Wow.
there used to be this thing that came out. Even now, as a grown adult, I can't sleep with doors or cupboard drawers or wall drawers or anything open. I have to make sure everything's closed. When I was little, when I was about 3 or 4, I think it was, something started to come out the wardrobe and sit on the end of my bed and pinch my feet, and really used to make me really cry. And it went on for a couple of years. And every time I told my parents, it was a case that you're imagining it, or you must have been dreaming, or something like that. But I was terrified to go to bed every single night, because I knew this thing would come out the wardrobe, sit on the end of my bed, and pinch
Oh
my
my
feet. And I
gosh.
used to hide under the covers until the pinching stopped. And and then sometimes by then I'd probably cry myself to sleep, or I'd be, I used to be traumatized, and
Wow.
it went on for quite a long time. I didn't know really know how to deal with it then. I know
That's
how
it.
to
What
deal
did
with
your
them
family
now,
say?
but they just thought I was dreaming it, or because I was, because
Right.
you're in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, and they thought I was imagining it, or dreaming it, or making it up, or something like that. And in the
Yeah.
end, I just stopped telling them, because it just didn't make any difference. So
No, I get
it
you.
was sort of following on. I would say that did go on for a couple of years, and it was
Wow.
sort of on from then. I saw a ghost in my grandma's house when I was about 9 years old. It was a
Gosh.
chap, and he just stood there in front of me quite a while, until he just sort of melted away. And there's
Wow.
quite a few things that I've sort of seen growing up, but I just stopped telling people. Just stopped telling people. People just didn't
Yeah.
believe.
So, when you went to school and stuff like that, you'd see stuff.
Yeah,
You'd just ignore it, I guess, would you?
didn't ignore it. I didn't ignore it, but I just didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
I was probably that child that sort of, I was always sort of on my own quite a bit as a kid,
Yeah.
because I never fitted into any cliques or groups of friends, or any gatherings and stuff
I
like
didn't.
that.
Yeah.
So I was always sort of on my own a bit, and I just used to, I could see these things, and even if I was in the classroom, or see them walking around and things like that, and I just never used to tell anybody. For me,
Yeah.
it was normal, but for other people, it wasn't normal. So
Yeah.
I didn't sort of feel I could help persuade somebody that what you're seeing, because they just think you're crackers. Just,
Yeah. Yeah. You would
and
then,
then,
but I wonder if it's different now because people talk about it more. It's more out in the open. I wonder if
yeah,
you were a kid now, if your family would sort of believe or
well, I still think that
help
people.
more.
I've seen it with children and that, where people have said to kids, "Oh, don't be silly, or that's not happened," and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I just think, the child's got to find its own path, like I did, and find your own way to deal with that and cope with that, because it is something that's difficult.
Yeah, that's right.
My little grandson, he was in my bedroom, before I moved. He was in my bedroom, and he came out after a few minutes, and he says, "Grandma, I've just seen a ghost." And I said, "Have you?"
Wow.
And I said, "Well, tell me about it then." I sort of wanted him to tell me about it, rather than saying,
Yeah.
"No, don't be silly." And he said, "Yeah, there was a little girl, and she was the same age as me, and she wanted to play." And I said, "Well, what did you say to her?" And he said, I couldn't play. He told her I couldn't play right now, because I've got to go and have my dinner with my brother."
That's so cute.
And I said, well, should we go and see if she's still in there? And we went back in the bedroom, and he said, no, she's gone.
Wow.
So, um, if children have experiences like that, let them talk about it. Let them tell you what they're seeing and feeling, because when they feel listened and heard and valued that little bit more, then they're not going
Yeah.
to feel like they're making things. When people say, well, should be telling stories, or you're making it up, or you're telling lies and things like that. When more likely they're telling the truth.
Yeah. A good friend, she's got two sons, and the oldest one speaks to his spirit guide and her spirit guide. And it's lovely, and I've had uh, I've had footage of him chatting, and it's great when he's just talking to them, and it's so cute, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it
And
is.
she just lets him, and she'll have the conversations with him, and she's aware of the guides. She can see them, he can see them,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's interesting. It's for me, it's a totally different world, but wow, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I've just been recently been doing a lot of stuff on child reincarnation, and some of
Wow.
the stories are just amazing. When you hear about children that have lived before, they come back and they more or less say straight away that about their old lives and
Yeah,
their other parents, and where they lived before. And there's cases where children have took their parents to places where they lived, and cases where like his granddad or what a parent, their father came back, their child, and they could remember everything, and they were telling their, there's some fascinating cases about it, and it's just, that's got to be more than just coincidence. Got to be something
that's
going on there.
right. Yeah, because we had Paul on earlier, Paul Goddard, he does past life regression. And
Yeah,
I've had a couple, and there's a lot of links between that and my life now.
yeah,
And like, it's really silly, but I don't like fruit because my fingers get sticky. And I really do not like touching fruit because, it's just horrible,
yeah,
I don't mind putting my hand in the garden, getting muddy, but sticky fruit, no.
yeah.
But in my past life as a fruit seller at Nottingham Castle, so as a
Brilliant.
peasant and selling fruits, and it just does it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And it's just things like that, and that really oh yeah, okay, that explains that because it's such a random thing, isn't it?
yeah.
You don't want to eat an apple because your fingers get sticky. Well, no, they don't actually, do they? But it's like, oof.
But isn't it, I find it fascinating that so many things that we sort of that we're drawn to, or we like, or we don't like,
Yeah,
we perhaps never experienced it before, but when we do it, it feels so familiar, and it feels so
yes,
right. And how could that be when we've not experienced it before?
yeah.
And I think a lot of this does go back to the past life, your past lives.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by Mexico. And originally, my ex went away and he sort of said, book somewhere for a holiday. And I found pyramids. I wanted to go to Egypt. Then I found some more in Mexico. I thought, oh,
Yeah,
let's go there. But the more I found out about it, the more I was fascinated by it. And then when I actually went, I felt that I belonged there. I felt that I didn't want to leave. And for the year of coming back, I felt so screwed up. I was trying to work out how to get back to Mexico. Even
yeah,
wanted to do archaeology so I could get out there,
yeah,
and I don't know, it's just a place that it's got some draw, and it hasn't come through on a past life yet, but maybe.
yeah. I think there's
And
so many experiences like that.
yeah, but yeah, I'm just fascinated about the Mayan culture. I just am, and I don't know why, but yeah, it's just something.
But there was definitely a lot going on before, before the asteroids hit and melted the
Oh,
ice caps
definitely.
and caused all the floods and stuff. There was definitely civilizations there before us, like at Göbekli Tepe and things like that.
Yeah.
There's so many sites around the world that Graham Hancock. There's a chap called Graham Hancock.
Fingerprints of the gods. Yes,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
read it. It blew my head.
I've got a lot of his books up here.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, it is fascinating. You can't deny that there was civilization. We've not just been around 5,000 years. We've been around so much longer.
Yeah. It's the fact that back before they had any technology, they actually mapped out the Arctic, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they did a map, they do it perfectly.
Yeah,
And
there's
yet,
that. I think
how?
it's
They
the
didn't
Perry
have
Reese
anything.
map. The Perry
Yeah.
Reese map that was done in the 1500s. I reckon that they got that from more maps way before, years before that, and it was all mapped out when it wasn't even frozen, and it's been frozen for like 11,000 years. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah. And also, like you get the story of Noah and his ark, and there's also similar stories which happened in South America as well.
Yeah, every single civilization around the world has a story that's similar to Noah, and
Yeah,
that's when,
and it's incredible.
yeah,
Really
and
is.
you know,
Yeah.
one of the theories is that an asteroid came and burst in the sky, causing massive like heat and then sort of freezing and all sorts of things. And it melted all the ice caps over America, and it caused all the floods. And it's just, yeah, it's fascinating stuff to read because the evidence is just, I don't know how some people can argue with some of the evidence because it's just sitting there right in front of your face.
That's it. Does it mean that the Earth's not flat then?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh dear. But yeah, it is incredible. And also, like the Mayans, you've got the observatory at Chichen Itza,
Yeah,
and it sort of it maps out to sort of solar system and things like that.
yeah.
And it's just fascinating, isn't it? How
And
we sort of had the link with the stars and the moon at that time.
yeah, and like the Hopi people who call them the Star People.
Yeah,
There's so many civilizations that have links to the gods, and all these cave paintings and things that show flying saucers and
yeah,
aliens and stuff like that. It's just fascinating stuff, and I just love sort of reading about all that sort of stuff because
yeah,
I think it's all linked. Are spiritual beings. And all these civilizations knew about spirit and how to look after our bodies and all that sort of stuff. And it was all there. It's not just a new science for us. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and are we could be so much more if we focused on that spiritual side of things.
definitely. But like people just forget things like they would have had the technology, wouldn't well, not technology as such, but ways of doing things like in ancient Egypt,
Yeah,
how they've built things and they manage, but now, we sort of have to use like mechanical things. Well, how did they do it?
yeah,
And all this has been lost.
yeah.
And
And it's
just like cooking now, like at school we were taught to bake.
yeah, we
Now,
were,
like, oh, how do you bake? Oh, you just go to Iceland and buy some frozen pastry, or you just buy something ready done. And that sort of art, it's dying, isn't it?
yeah, it is. When I was at school, we had a lesson every week teaching us how to grow food.
Wow,
We had a plot in the school, and we were growing lettuces and radishes and all that sort of stuff. We were actually taught and shown how to grow food in your garden.
that's
And
brilliant.
yeah, and it's that sort of thing, those sort of skills that I think they should be bringing back more and more.
Definitely, yeah. Especially the way things are, there are allotments around. People are getting to understand that it's better to grow. Um, the prices of the supermarkets now. And yeah, I grow my own tomatoes, and my dad did a lot. He did potatoes, runner beans, loads of beetroot, onions. He sort of did that in his garden, which is great. But
Yeah, all my grandparents grew their own food in the gardens. My
yeah,
mum does. I love gardening. I like to do a lot of that stuff. And we seem to have lost our way with that. And there's so much
yeah.
rubbish in the food that we eat now. And
Oh,
we only have to do a little bit in our gardens to, and Mother Earth would help us, and there's just so much there. And that's why I very much, my beliefs are with the old gods,
yeah,
the Green Man. To me, that seems to be the only path that's going to provide for us and help us through all this.
yeah. That's right. If people were more self-sufficient, It would help drastically, rather than just expecting to get something, throw it in the microwave, then boom, and
Yeah.
it's just full of V numbers and all rubbish, isn't it? Then people get ill as well. So
Yeah, because I eat a lot of dandelions and weeds out the garden and stuff, all the edible stuff. My grandkids think it's like I am a bit weird.
wow,
So I eat dandelions and I eat some of the other stuff out the garden with.
nasturtiums. Do you eat nasturtiums?
No, I haven't tried them yet, but
Yeah, they're good apparently.
yeah. I am broadening my field. My foraging field is definitely being, my horizons being definitely broadened.
Well, that's it, because now, you can buy a leaf salad, can't you, from the supermarket? Can be anywhere from £1 to £1.50 for a little more than dandelions, to be fair. And if you can find it in your garden.
Yeah, I don't really buy lettuce and leaves and stuff now. Like I say, I'll go out and find some weeds in the garden and go and eat them.
But you see, I go well. I've got a dog, so that's a problem. I have to keep a patch where it's okay. But I feed the tortoise. I try and find dandelions for her, because it's better than buying leaves from the supermarket, isn't it?
Yeah.
She kind of likes them more buddly. Yeah. There is so much that we can get. Like, I'm happy at the moment, I've got blackberries. So I've got to keep picking them and, make sure I do something with them, rather than pick them, leave them in the fridge, and then go manky after about 3 days.
Yeah,
But,
and there's so much stuff out there that we can eat, and I do also give offerings back to the fae and the bits of the garden. I give a lot back to the fae, and I always ask them if it's okay for me to sort of take this stuff.
Oh wow!
I give offerings as well back to Mother Earth, and I that's, I think, you're going to take. You also need to give a little bit back as well.
Have you got a sort of altar in your garden or something? Little corner where crystals?
I've only I have actually got I have actually got a tree. It's because I've not long moved. I moved at the end of April, so I've only been in the house sort of a couple of months now. But the garden is, while I'm waiting for planning permission, the garden is definitely the focus at the moment. And I've actually got a totem. There'll be a big totem pole.
Wow,
incredible garden, and there will be a fire pit there, because I do. I've got my drum. I do my drumming, pagan stuff.
Oh, brilliant!
And I should be sitting around my fire drumming. So particularly like on the as the wheel turns in the pagan world, I should be doing my drumming and stuff. So so the neighbours are in for a treat with that.
Yeah, better than the sharp music they play next door but one, sort of till the early hours. God.
They'll be able to listen to my sharp music now.
Well, at least it's more natural, isn't it, than what they play.
But it will be good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're playing like 60s and 70s, it's like, oh, come on, moved on a bit since then. But it's, I think they put a rubbish radio on, it's like, oh, okay, that's grim. So have you got any plans yourself then? Is there anything you're sort of thinking of doing, any sort of different path or?
Absolutely. I am starting a master's degree at Exeter University in September. It's the witchcraft and magic occult
beautiful
science. So quite a long time I've been wanting to do something like that, because I do study a lot. I do a lot of research.
My gosh, you do the reading, so Neil doesn't have to. That's what he says, isn't it?
Yeah, hence like my sort of library of stuff.
Wow.
But yes, I'm starting that master's degree. It's a year long down at Exeter. It's the first time I've run the course. So it's the witchcraft and magic science. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've got my student loan. Yay!
Awesome. Are you travelling down there? You living down?
I shall go down there for the year.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to be coming back. I want to get sort of some accommodation down there, because I'm not quite sure what the timetable is at the moment. But it is my intention to come back every weekend, really. Because I've got my own car, I can drive.
God, that's a long way. That'd do my head in.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure yet how it's all going to pan out.
Well, that's it. It's early days, isn't it?
until I get my
Yeah.
timetable. So that is my
Yeah.
focus at the moment. So I'm going to be doing that. Really quite
Wow.
excited about
That's
that.
brilliant. I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an experience, I think, because going back to uni at my age, I know people do it, but I'm going to be I'm quite excited to do it.
Good for you. But it's a course that you want to do, not something you feel you have to do. And
Yeah,
that's the difference, isn't it?
yeah. And it really called to me. I've been driven so much by the spirit world to do this, and
Wow, incredible.
so I'm going to get my little student digs. I'm going to be
Yay.
studying, and I just it's going to be great for me because it's going to really, I think it's going to formalize, if you like, all the knowledge and all the stuff that I've already got.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good for me.
Oh, I love this. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still do all my crafting stuff. I have my little stall. I'm just
Yeah.
changing the name at the moment, so it's no longer sort of going to be a hobby type thing. It's going to be more of a it's going to
It's
be
a
more of a
business.
business,
Yeah.
to sort of start that. But I can't start it just yet. I'm just gonna
You
because
can't
I've
do
just
everything at
moved.
once, can you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Got
just
to get
moving and stuff
sorted.
like that. So so there's a lot going on
That is
and
brilliant.
lots of change, lots of different directions.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's it. But yeah, to go to Exeter, it's a beautiful part of the world as well. Because obviously, if you do stay there at a weekend, you can pop into Cornwall, can't you, and sort of see more of
Yeah,
Devon.
I do have
You've
quite a
got
few.
Bodmin Moor around there, and there's loads of places, aren't there, to
Yeah,
see?
I do have quite a few friends down there, and I've been invited by a few people to go and see them at weekends and stuff like that. So
Yay.
it's going to be quite an adventure. So
Oh,
I'm
that's
really looking
brilliant.
forward to it.
Yeah, and that's it, because life is too short, isn't it? Like I'm struggling on the day to day. You think, well, why are you doing this? But for
Yeah,
you to just go out and think, right, I want to do this. I'm going to
yeah.
go like all these miles away. What is it? 200 miles? I'm a
I'm not
bit
quite
rubbish on
sure
that.
how far away it is.
About
Um,
4.5 hours, something.
but
But yeah,
this this is like a calling for me. It's almost like I'm
it's
being
good.
compelled to do it, and there's nothing that's gonna, there's nothing that's standing in my way at the moment to do it. And I am just really looking forward to doing it.
I love this.
Yeah,
Yay.
and it's going to get me to actually, do a lot of more
Welcome.
writing and research as well because I want to things like residual energy. You know
Yeah.
what I think of residual energy. I believe it
Come
just
on then.
exists.
For everybody who doesn't know what you think of residual energy, go for it.
I just don't believe it exists. We've never experienced it up at the centre, and I don't think anybody else has either. I've never had anybody come to me at the centre and say, "Oh, we found this, but we think it's residual." It just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't exist because it all sort of stems from the stone tape theory.
Yeah.
Stone tape theory was something, was a play that was done by the BBC in 1972. It starred Jane Asher in it. And it was just made as a thriller, a Christmas sort of thriller. And it was released. And from that, people actually thought that stone tape theory was a real thing. It's like where the things that's supposed to be have a traumatic death, then it's supposed to be that energy is supposed to be locked in the stones of the building, and then
Yeah.
at some point it gets released. So this was the thought, and to me, it just doesn't. It's just not right. It does. There's too many conflicting things.
Hello.
There's too many conflicting things that make it possible. That just doesn't make it possible. So
Yeah.
you know, but if the evidence was ever there to actually make it a factual thing and it was really proven that it is a thing, then obviously that would change my mind. But so many people are blinkered, told, or when they go on investigations, if they don't know any better, they'll say, somebody will say to them, "Oh, that's residual," and they won't
Yeah.
actually question it. Well, what is actually residual energy?
Yeah.
Where does it come from? Well, it's really energy that's released out the stones. Yeah, but what stones? There's so many
Yeah.
different types of stones, and not all the stones, everything vibrates at a different thing. So stones vibrate at a different level than the humans do. So how can that soul actually sit in a same space as something that vibrates completely on a different frequency, a
Yeah.
vibrational thing. So it doesn't sit with me. And when people talk about their experiences that they've had, but the spirit world will show you what it wants to show you
Yeah.
as a message. And if that means several people are involved in that, even if it's just to remember an event that
Yeah.
people say about energies, residual energy sort of trapped in quartz as well under the ground, but that doesn't make sense to me either, because deep does the quartz have to be? How, when fields and things have been ploughed and when the ground's been disturbed so much, how does that still work? It's not trapped in
Yeah.
the ground. And so to me, I mean, that might be one of the things as perhaps one of my topics when I do this master's thing. I don't know.
Yeah. But that is what paranormal's about, isn't it? It should be about your own experiences. Like
Yeah,
so many people, like, yeah, there's you get like different methods of investigation and sort of I like Estes, that's come in. Like a lot of people do Estes method and you think, yeah, I like that. And then there'll be something else which appears, which is a new way of doing things. And you
yeah.
a lot of people just follow. And yeah, admittedly, I do, you just see something, think, yeah, I'll try that. And
And what we
to use
is
your
that,
brain and think, oh, well, actually, yeah, what, people are saying all this. Well, yeah, question it. And
yeah, where does that originate from? Who said that
yeah,
in the first place?
yeah.
Why is that? Why are why do they say things like that? And
And
that
is
is
it
one of the
Chinese
things,
whispers as well?
yeah.
You know?
And that is one of the things that we do challenge at the centre. We challenge anything and everything. And after, with that building being there for over 1,000 years, surely something residual would have sort of been there if it was a thing, and it isn't.
Yeah,
I don't. I've seen no evidence whatsoever that residual energy is a thing.
yeah, that's it.
So
But
yeah,
yeah, and that's it. Like we've all got our own views, haven't we?
yeah, and
And
and our views are based on the knowledge and the experience that we've had.
that's
So
right. Yeah. And I
yeah,
don't tend to watch TV programs, because I used to watch Most Haunted at the beginning, but a lot of us did, and it actually got me in it. But then, as soon as I started investigating, you realise, yeah, ain't quite like that. That's all I'm saying. And you find your own way, you find your own path. Like there's Ghost Planet Network as well. Like Neil watches everything what goes out on there,
yeah,
so he puts genuine investigations on genuine people. And I won an award, which was brilliant for the podcast, which is
yeah, you
amazing
did,
and
yeah,
so unexpected. But that's so cool. But yeah, and that it's great that that's free as well, isn't it?
yeah. And Neil did say that he will be still putting content on in the background. It might not be so busy as he might not be doing as many as what he has done
Yeah,
previously, but he still will be putting bits of content on as and when he can. So
yeah. So
don't worry if you've sent stuff through to him; he will be getting it on, at some point.
yeah, it is. He's got his priorities at the moment, and that's it, isn't it? It's so tough for him. And
Yeah,
like anyone who's been there, you do know what it's like. And yeah, family's first, and that's that. So everything else can wait, can't it?
yeah,
And that's the way it is. Hi, Lynn.
yeah.
Thanks for joining
Hi.
us. But yeah, we've got Ames as well. Do you see Ames? Come on.
No.
I put it up. I didn't think you'd seen it.
Oh, of course you missed everything, Ames.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're here now.
Yeah. But it, yeah, it's just an incredible journey, isn't it? And it's the people you meet along the way, which is why the Parameet's been such a success.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the people in the paranormal community, because it is such a diverse melting pot of opinions and experiences, and there's just so much. And I love listening to people's stories. I love listening to people who have experiences they don't understand, or they've worked something out and they've come up with some really good answers, or I just love listening to people's stories and what they have to say about things that they've done in the paranormal. And that's one of the ways I think we learn as well.
Yeah, that's right. Because you get your own theory, and then it just gets blown out the water, doesn't it? By some
Yeah,
strange experience you may have. Like
yeah,
I've really had some weird experiences. For instance, that red wax box.
yeah, yeah,
Now that was unbelievable. So Neil got this at the time when the book boxes were sort of mentioned quite a bit. He got this red wax covered box in. And I don't know, it arrived in the centre probably on the Monday. On the Friday, I was kind of fascinated by it. So I held it quite a lot. And then somebody got a photo of it, and my face changed.
it did.
So basically, I've got sort of dark rings under my eyes, a pointy chin, and a pointy nose. And Jane had actually drawn what she'd got at
Yeah,
the
I've got the book
time
here.
from the centre. You've got it. And
My book here.
it's a similar image to what my face had changed to in this photo. So that was my first visit. So the next time I went and held it and got somebody to take a photo. And you got this white light coming from the box. It wasn't an orb, it's not a bit of dust. It was too big for that. Oh my God. Yeah.
So
Jesus.
that was my drawing of the bloke, of the chap that was with that box.
And my
And
face did that.
your face changed into something very similar, didn't it?
It
And
did.
also,
Yeah.
we had somebody take a photo of the when it was in one of the glass domes, and there is
Yeah.
actually a reef, like an image of that face in the
Wow.
glass dome, the same sort of face. So we've got sort of
Incredible.
three like sources of sort of the same face from different people, and that to me is just amazing.
Yeah, Amy was so cross when we found out it had been opened, and yeah, I was absolutely destroyed that night. It's really weird because for some reason, like the first time I went or second time I went, um, just before I was due to go to Haunted Antiques again, I used to get a click in my ear, and I think,
Yeah,
what the hell? And then after about fifth time, I thought, you get a weird click in the ear. I acknowledged it. It went. And and then I kept realising that it always happened before I was due to go to Haunted Antiques. So without fail, every time I was going, I'd hear it. Thought, oh, it's that again.
yeah,
And then once I thought, oh, it didn't happen. I forget it happened. But then one particular time, I thought, oh, it never happened. I thought, oh, okay, that's weird. And it was cancelled. And then another time I got a click and thought, oh, what's happening? I'm not going. And it turned out I was going. So, it was really weird. And then it changed. And instead of one click, it went click, 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 click. So it's really weird. The first time I met it as well, it was actually in, oh God, what's that little room off where the mirrors are? I forgot what to
Chamber of
call it
Fear.
now. Chamber of
Chamber of
Fear,
Fear.
yeah. So first time I met it, it was actually on a table. And it was all static coming off it. It was sitting there clicking to itself. It's really weird. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
It just sat there and it's just clicking. It's like, what the hell? And then for
yeah,
it to be doing that with me, and then from like one click in my ear to then stopping, it then went click, 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 click. And then one night it was at it's probably about 3-4 years ago. I was at the centre of Gary Fields. It's my booking. And I sort of asked him about it, and he sort of when he could get a click, 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 so he'd picked up on it as well.
yeah,
But then one night, I sort of said to Neil, I said the clicky box is dead because I called it a clicky box,
yeah,
and I knew something was wrong with it because it just got weaker and weaker, and it just wasn't communicating with me anymore.
yeah.
Which I know it's random, but it did communicate with me about 2 or 3 years, which is just so crazy.
Yeah, one of the best experiences we also had with it was in the tea room. When the tea room was in the war room, it was
Yeah.
actually on a table because we were going to do some work with it. And 5 of us were standing around the table, and the box was on the table, and we all saw the table actually turn round like that on its own. It actually spun round on the table on its own without anybody
Wow.
touching it. and we were hoping that we'd got it on the CCTV, but we didn't because it was too far
You
away.
never do you? It's annoying. Oh, and another time as well, Neil did live stream. So he used to have item of the week, didn't he? So he was doing a live stream on it, and I was weirdly linking into it, and I got, oh god, I just came out with, oh yeah, I said, is it you winged serpent or something? I got it in my head, so I asked that, and Neil was using his dowsing rods and he was agreeing. So then it says to Neil it wants to sit in front of the mirror. So Neil put it in front of the mirror and it went and cracked it. Because I knew it wanted more energy, so I got it in front of that mirror. Because in the attic room there's a mirror which is said to be a portal, and there's enough comes in and out of it, doesn't there? To be fair.
Yeah.
And
a few people have tried to shut that down. A few people have tried to close it.
So, yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, but that box, somebody did open it on an. See, we trust people. We trust people, and
that's right. I was devastated.
Yeah, when they're up there on their own, somebody actually took all the wax off it and opened the box and left all the wax inside the box.
That was it. That was why we couldn't work out what had gone on, because the wax, there's no wax around it, was there?
Yeah.
And if wax cracks, it falls and it'd be like around it as debris, but it had gone. And yeah.
There's nothing with. I don't know what they did to the box, but it was the man that was there with it wasn't there anymore.
No, that's right, because it stopped communicating to me, which it was weird. I'd never sort of anything like that. And it's like a little project what happened for years with me. It's weird, but
so I am really grateful that we did actually capture the information that we got from it when we did.
It was incredible. Yeah, that's right. And I think because it was left for people, they could go up and use it, they could go up and try psychometry, or they could put it on the table, things like that. But at the same time, because of that, it got destroyed, which is a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is letting people try things and use experiments on items, and somebody ruined it for everyone else.
And that's always been the philosophy of the centre. All the items, we want people to touch them. We want people to pick them up and see what they can pick up. We want people to have experiences, paranormal experiences with these things. And that's always been, the behind a lot of the items, where people can come in and work with all these things and have their own experiences.
Yeah. When you get different teams getting the same information through, it is wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is. But yeah, there are some amazing items. We've mentioned obviously Hannah. But,
yeah, she's a special madam. Yeah.
Definitely. But I've had some weird experiences in that wheelchair. I was there when my friend Phil Newton, he sat in it. Charlene Lowe Kemp from Paranormal Hauntings was there. She got blood pressure heart monitor thing, and he went off the scale. He had to go out because it was that whatever happened, it was mad.
Yeah, quite a few people have had experiences in the chair.
And there's once I did it, I was sitting there on a live feed, and I got I do tend to pick up injuries and things like that. So I was kind of picking up one symptom, recognised it, another one came along, got fifth symptom along was a heart attack, thought sod that, and got out of the chair. I'd had enough. But, and I could sit in it other times and nothing happened, and it's weird how spirit works, isn't it?
Yeah, we did have an SLS camera on the chair at one point, and it actually mapped a figure sitting in the chair. Now, the interesting thing about this was one of his legs, the stick on one of his legs only went down to the knee.
Wow, I picked him up.
So a few people have said, oh yeah, well, it's just mapping the chair, it's just sticking a person in the chair, but why is it not mapping both his legs?
Yeah.
But why isn't it just mapping a full person then? Why is half of his leg missing? And it's just stuff like that, really. That we have captured some stuff like that, and you've got to question. When people say, "Oh, well, he's just mapping the chair," well, you've got to question. Well, why is his leg missing?
That's it. And yeah, there are flaws with every bit of equipment. Yeah, we know that SLS maps things, but you've just got to question it, haven't you? Like, we
Yeah.
know that K2s, we know mobiles can set them off, we know signals, but if something's reacting to questions,
Yeah.
and you ask it to go to red and there's no real reason for it to do that and it does it, you can't then say it's rubbish.
Yeah. We had a really amazing experience in Wales with a K2, and we'd gone to this hotel because this person was experiencing a lot of activity in the hotel, and so they asked Neil if he'd bring his team along to see if we could sort of get to the bottom of what was going on there, which we did. But out the back of this hotel is one of the small cottages that they also let. And we went and sat in the cottage, and I could pick up all these people, and I could see them all, and I described them all. And part of that, we'd also been invited by a chap. He was Welsh. I think he was part of a team, some Welsh paranormal team, and I do apologise if he's watching. I can't remember the name of the team. But the three of us, there was myself, Neil, and this chap, and we were sitting in this cottage, and it was in the dark, and I could see all these people, and I described them. And the only kit and equipment we had a K2 on one chair, and we had the lighting up doll. I thought her name was. She was on the other chair. And I was talking to these spirits, but I was just getting no response whatsoever. And Neil tried, and he didn't get a response either. And then this chap started talking to them in Welsh. And he was talking. He was speaking to them in Welsh, and he was saying to them, "Flash the K2 for yes," or and flash the doll for no. And he was asking them all these questions, and these two things were just going off, in response to the questions that he'd asked. And that's the most fantastic experience I've ever had with the K2. Nobody was touching it; it was just sitting on a chair. There was nothing. It's an old cottage. There's not like loads of Wi-Fi and all that sort of stuff.
That's right.
But these specific questions. I mean, he was telling us in English what he was asking them, and the question we asked him, and he translated it into Welsh.
Yeah, awesome.
And he responded. We were in there quite a long time, and the amount of information and the responses that we got was absolutely fantastic. But then we got a question, as spirits, is it possible that they do only understand one language, the language that they always use when they're alive?
That's a big question, yeah.
To me, that was that proved that point to me, because we were asking in English, and there was no response. As soon as he started to talk to me in Welsh, a language that they recognised and that they could talk back, they actually responded with everything in every possible way, and the information was just amazing. So,
but then I see it as a different way. Like, when I used to go to Wales, they used to speak Welsh when I walked in the shop, if they weren't speaking English when I walked in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they might not want to speak to you, because sometimes they'd rather speak to just Welsh people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I found that as a child, things are different now, but yeah, that happens a lot with me. So I've got a question from Lynn. She says it was interesting about the mapping of the chair.
Yeah.
And she sort of said, has it captured a spirit with one leg?
Yes. His hands were on the sort of the side of the chair. He was quite tall. The proportion was right. His head came up just to like the top of the wheelchair, but his legs and his foot was on the footrest. But the stick, if you like, from his knee down on his, what would it be? To be his left leg. The knee, from the knee down on his left leg, there was no stick. There was no. His leg finished at his knee. Yeah. So he sat there in the chair, and he only had half a leg on the stick.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just amazing to see, because then you do ask, it's all these things that you've got to question. Why is it not mapping his whole body if it's just mapping the chair?
Right.
If it's just, so yeah, so it was a really good experience for us.
And Lynn says some Welsh people don't like to speak English, and and that is one, isn't it?
Yeah, and these people clearly, they didn't want to talk to us in English, and they probably
Yeah.
didn't want to talk to us because we were English.
Yeah, that's
There's a
right.
lot of
Yeah.
things to take into consideration, but as
That's
soon as the
it.
chap started talking in Welsh, the information that's coming out was just amazing.
Yeah. Right, I'm sorry we've got to end it here.
No,
Just a
that's
shame.
fine. Yeah.
But thanks so much. It's been wonderful, and thanks everyone for your comments. But
Yeah, I will just say, if you haven't got your tickets for Parameet North, then please get your tickets because they are selling quite quickly. We
wow,
sold lots at Parameet Midlands, so yeah, come along, join us at Parameet North. We'd
it's
love to see you
brilliant.
there.
It
Come and
was
make some
fun.
new friends, catch up with your old friends, and yeah, we'll see you all there. And thanks, Jackie, for having me on.
Oh no, it was lovely. Like I do love the Parameet, I do love the centre, and yeah, it's great to have a chat. And we sort of went down a few
Anything and
routes, didn't we? And yeah, and that's it, and that's the way it is, isn't it? And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be speaking to Barry Frankish on Thursday, so we've got our paranormal points of view. That's going to be at 7:00 for a change. I'm being interviewed by Highland Paranormal at 8:00. And then I think Friday I've been asked to do something. I wouldn't usually do anything on Friday, but sort of just popping on somebody else is doing a Proud to Be Paranormal thing as well. So Saturday Proud to Be Paranormal. So get your t-shirts, use the hashtag support Barry Frankish, and just show who you are. And yeah, get those photos out there. But take care everyone, and thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. See you. Bye.